Good evening. This is the Board of Public Works meeting for June 13th, 2022. It's just a little after 6 p.m. We're in the Library Plaza meeting room as opposed to the program room. The agenda for tonight is action items are contracts 20-20-18 generator and transfer switch maintenance and repair for wastewater and water divisions. Annual reappointment of the town engineer, Green Harbor petition, drain liners applications for J&J Trucking, fairgrounds fireworks, PFAS letter for residents near the wells, and agendized path, the draft letter to the town planner since we don't feel he represented our position as the Board of Public Works in the appropriate manner. And then we have discussion on appropriate issues at Metuxet Woods, indirect and direct costs, and town wastewater costs, trying to proceed through the Board of Selectmen and creating a 60-40 split for any improvements or upgrades to the wastewater plant, as was done most recently when Sewer 2000 was installed. We also have a vote to accept the minutes of May 23rd, 2022, the open minutes, and May 23, 2022 executive session minutes. We will have a superintendent's report presented principally by the town engineer, although I have some information that Tom asked me to bring forth. From June 2022. Bring it up.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Rather than run folks here to the board, we can proceed directly to action item number 3, if that is accepted to you, Mr. Cusick.
That's fine, no problem with that. That helps in residents.
Always. I will start and then defer the comments to Mr. Cusick, but I've discussed this with the superintendent, and by and large, the only issue we're dealing with is the request for additional trash barrels at the beach entries.
What about parking?
Huh?
Parking?
We don't have any authority over the beach parking.
Who is that going to do?
The parking is under the street parking is under the authority of the police.
Yeah.
And if it is
Thank you.
parking within the lots that we have allowed, that falls under the beach administration.
Say that again, under what?
Beach administration.
The lobster pound?
Well, the lobster pound is a private lot.
Are you coming?
Correct. And that is
Okay.
their own privilege. You know, as long as they have obtained the necessary permission from the Board of Selectmen and I believe the police department.
He
But
has
that-
a commercial parking lot,
Right.
license.
That is not under the purview of the Board of Public Works, though, it's private.
So you have, what about the parking signs?
Parking signs we put up, but we don't decide where they go. That is up to the police department. We are the installers, but we are not the deciders.
Because there are none on Marshfield Street.
Understood.
No speed limits on lanes, no.
Now, those normally go through the police department and the traffic safety department. They normally get go. Huh?
Kevin Final.
No longer. He retired.
Oh.
I don't know who has taken the traffic safety position.
Well,
Well, unfortunately, we haven't heard that
Are they
from the
eliminated?
selectman's office.
Okay.
Or the police department.
Well,
Right, yeah.
You know, the issue I want to make, the point I want to make with regard to the beach trash barrels, we put them at the walk-in entries that go down to the beach for, vehicle access if we were doing work. We also put them at anywhere there's a staircase. We do that at the start of each season. When we start seeing large volumes of residential trash, because we can tell the difference,
I know, yeah.
that's when we pull the barrels back in because of abuse. Having you folks as citizens, basically, particularly with the rental properties, if you're aware of that, stuff like that, you can get to us, then we can reach out to the rental property owner and say, hey, this is on you.
Well, we're not really seeing that right now because it's really, we haven't come into the season yet.
Right.
But what we are seeing is, and it's residents picking up, every day we go down and clean up the beach.
Yeah.
And it's like piles like this that
Yeah.
you see in the picture.
Wow.
Towels and beer bottles and, so some of the trash you're seeing at the entrance is actually us going down cleaning up the beach.
Okay, and what I would suggest, okay, it's the first I've heard of that, okay, is that when you have, you've now notified the Board of Public Works. I will make sure that DPW staff is aware of it, but that if you are, indicate to us, like on, say, Sunday after evening, or whenever you choose to do the work, that you're doing the thing. I have a town email, dcarrier@townofmarshfield.org, as John has his, and as Bob Shaughnessy, and as does our superintendent, Tom Reynolds. If you email us with the fact that you're actually doing a cleanup down on the beach, then we can actually direct some pickup that might otherwise not get taken place. We need to know what's happening.
Yeah, we also take the majority of the trash from the lobster pound and from the food truck that's there.
Okay, that is something that,
Yeah.
that should be addressed actually through the Board of Health, because it's a business trash, and that falls under the Board of Health
You guys
jurisdiction.
take that trash?
We don't take it, but everybody that buys their food there takes it down to the beach.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry,
Dump
you're saying
it.
it's coming
Yeah.
down to the
Yeah.
beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, okay, I misunderstood you, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So that accumulates quite a bit of trash.
All right, so-
Because on a nice day, we have upwards to 300 or 400 people on that beach.
Oh, yeah. It's where I always went with my family, was down to Birch Beach or down further at the cut, by
Yeah.
81 Street Parking. Yeah. Okay, lots.
And that's difficult now too, because a lot of the beach has eroded,
Yeah,
so people are getting pushed
yeah,
down.
further and further,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're all gonna come to Wrexham now.
Yeah.
Be fine.
And,
That'd be all right.
yeah. Now, coming from the lobster shack here, the lobster pond, their trash, does that tend to accumulate principally at the Birch Beach entry? I would assume so, because it's the
On the
closest
beach.
spot, okay. So maybe we'll talk to Tom about adding some additional pickup there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and actually,
That's picked up every day, isn't it?
I
Clean.
believe so.
Yeah, it must.
I believe the route is done each day.
Yeah.
But, because I usually see the truck
Yeah.
on one of my
Yeah.
routes, but,
And
I've also
somebody
done-
just put a couple of new barrels there.
I'm sorry,
Somebody just added a couple of barrels there that I just saw, yeah.
but I'm gonna,
Town barrels.
I believe they are, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
well, I'm gonna address that, I think we ought to address that through the selectmen, because they're the permit granting authority of the lobster pond. That a lot of their, the takeout trash is ending up on the beach or in the barrels adjacent to the beach entry, and that, the lobster pond should, A, do what it can to try and encourage people to come back, and B, maybe, during the season, put in a small dumpster. How's that sound to you?
Well, yeah, they could put a dumpster in, but if the customer is taking the,
I'm talking about putting a small dumpster down, actually like at the access point to Birch Beach,
oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I thought you meant that.
at their cost and at their pickup.
Good idea.
No, but we all we do is ask, we can't force that, that's, as I said, in the province of selectmen, no, that's not true. Okay. I mean, that, to me, is by my read of this, which I did read through it fully, and I empathize with a number of the issues you folks are dealing with, and, all I can say is, that is really the only purview we have. If you can get the request to put signs in through the police department and Board of Selectmen, we will put them in. And once the police tells us they want signs here, there, and everywhere, we stick them in.
Okay.
So who should we speak to at the police station? Chief Tavares, or is there somebody else we should speak to?
I'm not sure who that is, but
Let's start with the chief and then you just
well,
pass.
you can start with the chief. Actually, typically I would give first bite of the apple to Captain McDonough. Okay, he's the operational guy, so to speak, whereas the chief is really the strategic guy. Okay, and give him first bite at the apple. Then if it doesn't work, that's when you bump it up to the chief. Otherwise, you just ran out of your next appeal.
True.
No, you,
Yeah.
can I?
Oh, John, your turn.
If nothing works here, I lived on the water for a good 25 years. That now works it. I know the problems. But if nothing works here to your satisfaction, you can do a 25-person petition to the selectmen. We did.
We did.
25 person, to have a meeting About,
They haven't even responded to us. We have over 240 people on a petition from Green Harbor and
are you
Marshfield.
asking for a meeting with?
No, I don't think he did, actually.
See, that,
Yeah, it has to be specific to the selectmen and that's.
if I have an email,
You can
Yeah,
but you can do, it's in the charter.
okay,
25, be more than 25 residents sign specifically for that problem you have. What you want, the agenda item, just one. Nothing else is on that agenda, and it's for you. And they have to respond to that.
Meaning a request for a meeting or just one agenda item?
Well, whatever agenda item you want. I mean, I can send you the
Okay.
one I've done. I think I did it to our own board. You weren't there.
Okay, because when I went to the selectman's office, they indicated to me that we would only meet with the selectmen if we were requesting changes in the bylaws.
No. So don't let them push you around. Just email me back, I'll send you the application. It's just a form,
Okay,
what you
perfect.
want, but
Okay,
it's in the job. They have to meet with you.
okay, excellent, thank you. All right,
That's the way you do it, and you keep
Yeah.
it up, you keep putting the pressure on them.
no, we are, we're not gonna stop, we have a
Don't let
lot
them
of
push you
serious
around,
issues.
you know?
Yeah, all right, we'll let you guys continue on then, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Just send me an email and I'll send you a sample.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's straight about.
Hi.
Would you park?
Hey, Ann.
Thank you.
Hey, bye.
Good night.
Want these chairs back or anything? Okay.
Bye-bye, thank you very much.
We put the Green Harbor petition on the front end.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And discussed the request for barrels and then also gave you some additional information how to pursue the other issues they're chasing.
Okay.
So let's switch to contract 2020-18, generator transfer.
So I have a question
Shoot.
on the Green Harbor petition.
Oh, sure.
Was that an appointment or was it just an action item?
It was an action item number 3.
So we went that for number
That's
one?
not, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, and what was the result?
The result is we are going to make sure the barrels are out now, okay? They're requesting additional pickup, but I requested in return that they give us some additional communication, because they do go down periodically and clean the beach
Yeah.
and put the stuff into the barrels, so it's not really, residential trash that's showing up there, even though it might possibly look at it. And I requested that they inform us, through meeting inform staff, with regard to, when they're doing that, so we know to do maybe a little extra swing by.
So do we have barrels on the beach? Or
We have barrels at the entry points.
At the entry points, okay. Okay, I did read their, for the record, I did read their documentation.
Yeah.
And I think not only is it Green Harbor, but it's the public beach, it's over XM.
Yep.
It's right across the board.
It's pretty much the world now.
Well, yeah,
Right.
it basically, it's the 20 to 30-year-old disrespect for the rest of us.
The other item that they were pointing out is that there's a lot of trash that ends up down on the Birch Beach area because it comes from the lobster pound on takeout and gets consumed on the beach. And I thought that we might make it an approach to the lobster pound about, since a lot of that trash is there, if they can't encourage people to come back, perhaps they could pick up a small dumpster and park the dumpster there.
So could we work with the building commissioner?
Yeah, well, that's my intent, is to probably work through the building commissioner and the board of health, because both of those
Yeah,
throws
okay.
it is.
All right. Are we going to send a letter to them, or we just going to?
I thought when Tom is back on Wednesday, see about getting a memo drafted up and.
Yeah, I think we should put something in writing. John, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree,
I don't want to just have a phone call and then.
No, we want a
You
trail.
want me to respond?
I'm sorry, John.
We want a paper trail.
Who's the memo going to?
My mind is thinking fast, working too fast. Sorry, John.
My intent would be to go to the building inspector, as Bob pointed out, and also the board of health about the issue. And that a lot of it seems to be generated from the lobster hunt. And on some of the other takeout places there,
You
so
know what they get for the jumbo lobster roll?
probably about $30.
$5.50.
Holy crap.
Now, if you want the smaller one, it's only 35.
So is it, so let's talk for a second, because of there's a number of beach areas that have a similar problem, especially in the Brown Rock area. We had this issue with the barrels in the past. I mean, what do we should be not just focusing on Green Harbor, we should be focusing on those other businesses along the beach that have the same issues.
Right, we put the barrels out at the entry points, whether they're at the drive-on or whether they're the stair access points. The barrels are placed there. Now, one of the things we do after some period of time when the volume seems to be building up and it seems to all be residential trash, we'll pull the barrel away. If we think it's the residents. I mean, like if you're on, Hewitt's Point, you're not gonna see all that much trash there, just because of the character of the beach down below. It's all cobble and people aren't there. And you've gotta get quite a ways down before you really see the beach volume again, toward the Surf Avenue area and stuff.
But we do have the number of roads, there's a public section that we've had problems in the past because of renters putting their stores.
Yes, yeah, and to the Green Harbor people, we need probably just to do this as a website in the town, thinking maybe, on ATD or something else, and just make the point again. It's for beach trash. If you're a resident, put your trash out. It's not that expensive for a pay-as-you-throw bag.
No, I agree, I mean,
And the fee for trash, illegal dumping, is fairly significant compared to a beach, pay-as-you-throw bag.
so one last question. What are they doing about the drinking and the partying on the beach?
John came up with an excellent suggestion that they get 25 signatures or more together for a specific request to meet with the Board of Selectmen to discuss the issue, then put forward, have the police department there,
Yep.
to settle the issue. Try anyway.
Yeah, because it's not just Green Harbor, it's
Yeah,
the other beaches too, and we should,
but that's outside of our purview,
no, I get that. So,
and you know.
good, I'll be just interested in what they come up with.
Anyway, the next item one action is contract 2020-18 generator and transfer switch maintenance and repair. I have read through this electronically. I have no issues. The service from the supplier has been satisfactory.
Yeah, both water and wastewater have had no substantial issues.
Now, prior to the installation of our emergency generator at 965 on the existing Waste Solutions building, we were also, as water, covering the emergency generator at Town Hall. Is that still, is that going to be allowed under this contract, or has it been shifted?
I don't know.
That's okay. If it is, it's
not
just one more
listed.
item for the offsets.
Yeah, it's not listed. I'm pretty sure it wasn't listed on ours.
Okay, yeah.
But that
Okay,
doesn't mean that
specified.
they hadn't piggybacked on it.
Well, I'm just curious, because I know they're taking the police department's generator from the emergency management center and moving over to here to the library. So they're going to have a separate contract underneath the facilities. But anyway, I will read the motion. Are there any questions? I guess you'd ask first, sorry.
No, I have no questions.
I do.
Far away.
Inflation, an escalation factor. That they're anticipating that 4.4% is what they're calculating. How firm is that going to be?
That's an approximate 4.4 it states.
Right.
Do we have a cap on how high they can go above that, Ron?
There's no cap. If you want, we could, we have a contract that states that we go by the
CPI?
the skilled
Okay.
worker in our index.
Okay, that basically is a guide for inflation, and if we went to any other generator party ads, that would still be the guiding light.
So
That's 1.6%. See, and number C cost.
Well, this is based on our May index, and we anticipate slightly higher, but we'll go by July. From July to July, when the July index is actually printed, then we'll go by that particular. So the vote would be to use the July index, as it was originally.
So before we go to vote on motion, for the listening public at home, what's ENR?
Engineering News Record
Engineering News Record.
is a publication that tracks construction, countrywide, in various cities, and they index the inflation, basically, of what the current construction costs are. And they break it down into skilled workers and materials and,
So
construction.
how is that different than U.S. labor and statistics?
I don't,
That is a broader net that takes in, I guess I'd put it this way, as non-machinery or electrical related skilled workers who may make a lower salary, if I remember it rightly. We used to use it when I was in the power industry for a lot of our service contracts.
Because we do it, because I use it all the time. I use the U.S. labor statistics.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's broken down by the section, by industry, by union, non-union, government, private, and that's what the state uses. So I'm just I just wanted to bring that up.
That's a good point, but
The ENR might be more focused on construction, so they might break it down even more.
Well, let me,
So,
let me.
I don't know, I thought I'd bring it up, that's all.
That's
what
a good
we
point.
did the job.
Yeah.
It's a good point, but let me ask this question. Have we done a comparison of, how ENR's escalation clauses have tracked as compared to the CPIs?
No.
Okay.
I suppose we could do that.
Yeah, I mean, we have worked under this same escalation contract language
Right.
for, I think, over, we were doing FM when I was in the job. So, I think we should just do that as a follow-up check, at least the next renewal comes around.
So my point is, I'm glad that we have some standard to go by versus saying, oh yeah, whatever. It's good to have a standard to go by, but there are more than one standard out there that we need to cross-reference to make sure that the public is getting the best value.
Well, this is posted monthly, so.
Yeah,
I'm sure
okay.
how the other one-
So let's go for the motion.
I would say we do a comparison going forward on the existing contract, and if we see a disparity, we can call them into respect. I mean, and basically,
I understand that.
Because labor, the reason I bring it up, and before it has been low inflation, but,
yeah.
I mean, if you read the news reports, it's like 8%.
4.4 is excellent, I jump on it.
Yeah, right, I'm saying, yeah, right, it's like 8%. It was just last month, there was 1% increase in inflation.
Basically, whatever the escalation is of this contract, it's gonna pale compared to what we're gonna be paying for the propane and the diesel.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Okay.
All right,
Motion, authorize amendment to extend contract 2020-18, generator and transfer switch maintenance for water and wastewater divisions to FM Generator of Canton, Mass. from July 1, 2022 to July 30, 2023, and authorize the chairman or designee to execute the extension when it has been prepared. Said extension will come with an approximate escalation of 4.4%, subject to the calculation in July of 2022 of the original contract amount. And staff, I'll pick that up after. Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor?
All right,
Okay, and staff, you are directed to arrange a comparison to track, see how it looks.
CPI versus ENR.
Yeah. CPI is the global one, so it's appropriate. Now, since you.
Right, you want the website? I can give you the website.
Yeah, that'd be great. Just text it to me.
Actually,
Tell me, I'll
Yeah,
tell
we
you.
always had, we had the CPI website because we had it for solid waste contract.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Can't carry over.
What I'll do is, I'll send you what we use, and then you can decide if it's worth, if we're using the same one or not. And-
Yeah, well, I mean, we can do a look back to see how ENR's escalation
Yeah,
compared to the
okay,
CPI too. Not
Because
that it's past performance is no guarantee of future returns, so.
No,
Okay, our second action item is the annual reappointment of the town engineer.
and who's that?
We have a recommendation in accordance with the town of Marshfield bylaws, Article 42. The office of town engineer shall be under the jurisdiction of the Board of Public Works and be appointed annually by the Commissioners as adopted by Article 7 of 1971 Special Town Meeting. And the action is, the Board of Public Works motions to reappoint Roderick Farcasino as Town Engineer for fiscal year 2023, shouldn't that be?
23.
Yeah. So let's correct that.
Wait,
We're now, July 1st is 2023.
sorry about that.
Yeah, okay, for a term starting on July 1, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2023. I will speak to the fact that I have, in my opinion, only one person who's absolutely indispensable in the Department of Public Works, and he is sitting to my immediate left named Rod Procacino. So I encourage my board to second and approve.
Well, let's put that congratulations in the envelope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Discussion?
Discussion, sir?
Could we give him an escalation in salary?
I already got one, so
That's what I
thank you.
suggested. Well, Rod, I just suggested you can go for another one.
That's okay.
Were you going to turn down another one?
I don't want to turn down anything.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
I would,
All in favor?
I would like to have a bonus piece to it. For the amount of seawalls and the number of work that he's been doing.
The only comment I can make to that, there was a time when after I had done purchase power for the town, the Board of Selectmen brought me in and said they wanted to give me, they couldn't give me a bonus because of the law, so they wanted to give me 3 additional days of vacation, and I had to point out to them, I'm sorry, folks, you don't have that authority, it's part of my contract with the Board of Public Works.
So,
Okay, fine.
Let's go.
Hands are tied.
We have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, congratulations, sir, thank you for your service.
Vote was
to the town.
unanimous.
Thank you. for
If we
your
could give you a
service.
bonus, we would.
We absolutely would. Okay, the
Thank
next
you.
item is the drain layers license. We've already taken care of item 3, the Green Harbor petition. And we have a drain layers application to J&J Trucking. They have been reviewed by the chief system operator and our Marshfield wastewater treatment facility. And the James Varasaro is the name of the applicant. J&J Trucking has made an application for a new drain layers license to the town of Marshfield Department of Public Works. The applicant has submitted a complete application, submitted appropriate insurance documentation for the wastewater treatment facility, and submitted appropriate bond documentation, to the wastewater treatment facility. And the applicant has met all of the requirements as set forth by the wastewater treatment facility, and as such qualifies for a license by the Board of Public Works.
I agree. I have no problem with this.
Any questions, Mr. Shaughnessy?
No.
Make a motion.
Okay. I make a motion to grant a drain layers license to J&J Trucking, James Vasasco, I hope I pronounced that correctly, as the master drain layer license. E. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next item is, that you give Bob a copy of the memo from 2006.
I'm glad you could find it.
Yep.
I asked to put this on the agenda.
Yes, you did.
Um,
I'm going to give you the floor for it, sir.
Okay. The reason why I asked to put this on the agenda is because it's that time of year. Fireworks. Marshall has fireworks all at the beach. There's activities at the fairgrounds all summer. And I just wanted to restate what we put together back in 2006 about perchlorate and how our South River Street well got impacted from a fireworks display and has recovered. But I wanted to make sure that at least we go on the record from a board level to restate what our position was back in 2006.
I would also add, since we don't know everything that is in fireworks besides the perchlorates, we may have some PFAS.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Okay. And, the issue is we now have a second well within that same region. We have a fairgrounds.
Right.
So now the danger to our water system is potentially twice what it was before.
So this is with, I really don't know if it's an action item per se. I think I would like to have a vote from the board to reaffirm what we had
Why don't you make the appropriate?
So I'll
motion?
make the motion that the Board of Public Works reaffirms our position of perchlorate and fireworks in the well-filled areas throughout the town, especially at the South River Street well and Fairgrounds wells, because it is adjacent to the fairgrounds. And that additional information for forever chemicals may also be a threat if there were fireworks there. So we're asking for a prohibition on fireworks in that area.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Bob.
We will reaffirm it. I guess I would say we'll send that out under the signature of the superintendent, or if it were my signature, rather than the full board signatures, just to reaffirm the vote.
So we can send it out to the superintendent can decide it.
Right, that's where I was going, yeah.
But we should reaffirm that, send it to the Board of Health, the fire departments,
Yep.
selectmen, and whoever is responsible for giving permits to the fairgrounds.
And the levels at the wells are remaining around .2.
Yeah, I think they've been stable ever since we had an immediate, my memory is we had an immediate reduction, at the next set of rounds of testing back in 2006 when it was.
Yeah, we
stable, and then it leveled off thereafter.
So if someone's watching this at home, we were low. The state at the time, across the board, and every community had to protect, had to analyze for chlorine. It's similar to what they're doing with PFAS now, right? And our numbers were in the South River Street well were low.
Right,
They were like
they were below the.
they were way below the MCL, the maximum concentration limit. And after the fairgrounds had the fireworks around the 4th of July, 3 weeks later, it almost went to the MCL. Because it acts like an alcohol. It comes down, it hits it, and it just travels. And what we said, we stopped it at that point, and then we wrote the letter saying that this is what we found, and this is what we want to do. And the trustees of the fairground agreed with us and said they would not do fireworks ever again. But that's
They have
16 years ago, so, but not much has changed.
Okay,
Okay,
very good.
so that's where we're at.
Okay, the next item is the letter that we had to draft and comment for
Oh.
reaching out to the residents near the wells. That's item number 6.
So item 6. Yeah, Dave, I got hammered at work. I haven't been able to, things, but I will get to this week.
Oh, you'd like to hold off till the next meeting?
Yeah, I would. But I don't,
Sorry, but
It
finish
needs a
off.
little tweaking.
it needs a little
Well,
more
there was
tweak.
a couple, I know that John had pointed out an omission by mine where, when I hit the key, I think Anne Marie took care of it, but anyway. Yeah, so that's fine, Bob, we'll go till the next meeting for comments.
Yeah, but I don't want to go beyond that.
Right.
I agree.
That's the
Yeah, like I said-
the 27th, this,
27th of this month.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
This was drawn up as a straw man for her to vote. Okay. And
Okay.
the next item is the agendized path, and this letter is in response to basically the manner in which the town planner failed to acknowledge the fact that he had communication from someone other than one of the staff engineers, including myself, Bob, you, and also the town engineer in a May 19, 2022 email in which he was informed that the Board of Public Works had voted that the cul-de-sac on Jedediah's Path can remain as they extend the roadway for the two residents that are going to be installed down there that is now currently before the planning board. His failure to acknowledge that to me was troubling, at the least. I know you were on the call, Bob, and I will let you make your comments going forward here.
So my concern is we have a development that has a cul-de-sac at the end of it. There are there were some driveways that have 3 houses on it,
Yeah.
both on Jedediah Path and I'm not sure what the
Oakland
other.
Way has this private way.
Oakland Way has a driveway with 3
Houses,
houses on it.
driveways, yeah.
So if there's, on both streets in that development has a private driveway with more than 1 house on it, Why can't there be one at the end of the road, at the cul-de-sac? Leave the cul-de-sac alone. Since we accepted the road and we have care and control of the road, I think we should have a say in what we can do, because moving forward, there's nothing to say we're going to accept that private driveway.
Well, I would point out to the planner, and it's in the letter, so I'm not going to read it from the letter, because it's easy. We are dealing with a situation here where basically, I get there. Town charter specifically states, the Board of Public Works has the authority over roadways. That is an accepted section of roadway. There is nothing from an engineering standpoint, meaning technical issues of physical strength, size, anything like that, quality of pavement or anything else, that prevents us from having a cul-de-sac remain. Up in Arrowhead, we have one. Smack in the middle, well, about 2/3 of the way down when you're coming in off of Union Street. The bottom line to me is we have a number of other, can't call them up by name, but there are at least 2 or 3 others where that has happened. And then, for example, the development in which Bob Marzelli resides, there are a number of traffic islands that were cul-de-sacs at one time, and only because roads diverge off in 2 different directions off the main did they remain, and they remain basically as a traffic control item. To me, this functions in all of those ways. In addition to that, that is town property, and it is in the accepted roadway, so I believe it's fully in the purview of the Board of Public Works to say, go or stay. And our vote was to stay.
Correct. And the issue is, basically, it's calming of roadway, keeps the traffic low. So in that particular area where they were talking on the Zoom meeting, there's a number of kids that ride their bikes around that circle. That would be a calming effect, and I think that we would be remiss if we took it out and made it a speedway.
I completely agree. You're singing in the choir here, as the saying goes.
So I'm good with the letter.
I'm good too.
Okay, so we will send that out to his attention, and I guess if we have a clean copy for signature tonight, Anne Marie?
Sure.
We'll all sign it, and we will have it sent forth. Okay.
May I speak?
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Iafrano is...
Frank Iafredo, I'm 155 Jedediah's Path.
Oh, okay.
Billy Arnaud's neighbor.
Oh, yeah,
So,
across the street.
Listen, we appreciate both Dave, yourself, and everybody on this board for keeping the cul-de-sac in place. You're absolutely right. Why can't there be a shared driveway down there? The cul-de-sac, we maintain it. If you go up there now, we've just completely redone it again. Dave saw it today. And we greatly appreciate the support. We really do.
One comment I did make, which I intend to be in attendance at the next planning board hearing on this subject, is that because physically it is a roadway and it would become a continuation in a piece of roadway, that we can have it perform under the adoptive island program, which means, both Mr. Iafredo and his neighbor are perfectly willing to sign on as adopters and guarantee to keep the elevation of foliage, plantings rather, so that they don't grow beyond the limits that we have built into the adoptive island program. And the other thing, in reviewing that, looking at it, this will be dependent on the fire chief's opinion, because he was going to get up there to review it. And he had today, because they're starting to transfer from the old emergency management center to the new location. He couldn't make it at 3 o'clock this afternoon, but there are a few limbs that might have to come down, and I would defer to his view. My eyeball says no, but he's going to be driving emergency vehicles, and it's his call. The tree itself can stay, by my opinion. And we'll have Tom look at that with maybe Matt from the cemetery trees and greens for the trimming and stuff like that, so that we do it in a manner that doesn't damage the tree, and we go forward. And hopefully they will have 2 out of the 4 members at the last hearing inclined to retain the cul-de-sac. 2 did not. I forget Fred's last name.
Fred Monaco.
Fred Monaco. And he is the swing vote on this, and hopefully he will proceed to agree with both Viviano and
Did the fire chief indicate that he would be supportive of a T kind of section at the end, like a common driveway with a T at the end?
No, they were concerned about putting another circle,
Right,
but no island.
Yeah, they were talking about a hammerhead turnaround.
Hammerhead
or-
No, They didn't want the hammerhead,
I know, we wanted this just an open
they
circle.
wanted an open circle,
Yeah.
like Brant Rock used to be.
Yeah, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
That I mean,
But it's a
from our
private driveway.
perspective, from our perspective,
We own
it's gonna be private at that point. We don't have an issue. It's not our dog to fight, so to speak. That's.
And I agree with Dave, I mean, there was 4 people on the Zoom meeting from the planning board, 1 was absent,
Yeah.
and it was a split vote right down the middle.
No, so we will reaffirm our position, and we are basically by sending this letter, and hopefully the planner and the planning board will give it its appropriate due consideration. Okay,
Good.
thank you. Good, thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
needed 2
My
minutes.
pleasure. Sure, yep. Going to take a 2-minute recess.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, it is now 6:47, and we are now into discussion. There is an encroachment issue apparently at the Tuxet Woods. I have no particular information on this. Are you brought available?
I had a discussion with Tom Reynolds on this.
Okay, you can take the floor, Bob.
All right, there's a, at the top of the hill, there's a person who is using town-owned land for his own purposes.
Is this the logger?
I'm not exactly sure.
Top of,
Is it the
off of
logger?
Ferry Street?
He does harvest
Yeah,
with the
he's
same
way
person.
at the top where they used to have their septic system. correct?
Yeah, and he's got equipment and everything else up there.
Yeah, he
I
used to-
guess according to Tom, they've been, the fire chief and the police chief have been dealing with it. I was looking at it perspective, it's like, if we can't get control over this, can we fence it?
He can roll it, what's last one?
Can we put a barrier fence on our land?
The answer to that would be absolutely.
So that we can eliminate the encroachments.
And if there's any question, it's for water protection, because that is zone 2, which is why we acquired the property.
We could keep, we could keep the fence so the animals can get under it and stuff, but it would only be where the encroachment is
I wouldn't
at.
like my water pressure.
I'm not looking to fence the whole area,
Understood, you just want to,
just as an enforcement issue.
you take away the easier access for him, so he can't.
Yeah,
do
right.
it. That works for me.
So that was basically, it's, Tom's dealing with it, with public safety people,
Yeah.
and just wanted to bring it up that there is an issue that it's been there. I mean, I would like to see us take a project on and degenerize, take away all of the power systems out there. They're still alive out there.
Yeah, no, they, to the best of my knowledge, they are still connected, all of the transformers.
Right, I think we should, degenerize them and,
Energize, yeah.
yeah, and maybe decommission, some of that, and maybe,
Well, the issue,
there's a lot of,
the transformers actually, while they were installed by the developer at the time, they actually become the property of the utility. And when I was still in the chair, we tried to get, it was still it was still Electric at that point, I'm sorry, it was Eversource at that point in time, to take them back, and they failed. So I think I think the approach we should take is to reach out to town council and find out what our rights and authority is to basically tell Eversource, remove these by date certain, or we take possession and we can surplus them off as town surplus property. And find out if that's.
yeah, because I mean, if they're all energized, there could be a liability on our side.
Does that work for you, John? Any comments on that?
Anne Marie mentioned, it was an Instar, wasn't it, that you contacted?
It was N-Star back then, yeah.
Yeah, is that strong?
It was N-Star.
Some
No,
of
no, I'm
those,
fine with that, yeah.
Yeah, but it's now Eversource today because they merged. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's up to get to.
And as we formally call them, Eversource.
Could we put on our planning hat and basically think about what we want to use that land for in the future? I mean, we own it for water supply, but, I mean, we need to take out some of the infrastructure out there so it goes back to nature.
Yeah, well, the bottom line was, what we originally had proposed was that was open space for passive recreation.
Right.
when we bought it for water, as most of our water source properties that we have protected have been. Yeah, I think that, and I guess, why don't you put that on the agenda for the 27th, to make a policy decision on that as to how we go forward as a project.
I think we should plan to, you know,
He wants to make a
to
comment.
decommercialize it.
Just so you know.
Go
I'd
ahead.
like to, as a director butter, there's been serious issues over there, dirt bikes, quads. If you open this up and say passive recreation, I don't know how else you could phrase it, because people are gonna think that's what it is. I've had to call the police several times because of these people.
I may
I don't know
be,
how to skirt around that.
I may be wrong in my memory, but my memory was when we presented the purchase before town meeting for approval, that in point of fact, we made the statement that it would be available for passive recreation.
Yeah, but that's one of
Well,
the
I know, I'm just saying,
Should we have,
well, I think Anne Marie's point is, as long as the paved way is there, you're gonna have the dirt bikes ripping up and down. I think if we, Bob's point, I think is valid, if we remove the pavement, and it didn't take all that long for the pine seedlings to take over all the lot areas.
It's too bad it wasn't done initially, because those trees are big now, it would have been all filled in again.
Right, I think we don't, I just think we
But
need
but
to,
right now, it won't take too long, for them to seed and take in, and if we need to, we can get some seedlings.
Run the dirt bikes.
Yeah, they run everything, they, all that stuff.
Yeah.
They will. They will. I mean, and another issue is, which I have to go to the planning board meeting on, the Zoom meeting on the 27th, I received a notice that there's one lot left that they're building at the end of California.
Yeah.
So that abuts Matuxet. So my concern, and I did go talk to them, that to make sure that, new people coming in there don't realize what the restrictions are over there, or what the land was even purchased for anything.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so I was concerned about that.
so why don't we put it on the agenda
Yeah.
for a discussion of what the future
I mean-
plans, we can come up with some kind of master plan of
Right.
how can we achieve passive recreation, but also protect our water supply? And what do we need to remove?
It can, and if not, then we need to fence it off so that it
Yeah.
can't be used to access it.
yeah, that's protect the water, I agree, I can agree with that, let it go back to natural.
But would you make a note for Tom to basically arrange, maybe use the water supervisor to reach out, to inform that new residents, that the fact that, that's not open season there.
Sounds like
And then
we
the other
need a
thing would
field
be-
visit.
The other thing would be, I think most of what he's doing up there, we could treat under the illegal dumping. If we haven't found it, we should have.
I just,
Because he has cut down logs and things like that, as far as we're concerned, we can treat that as dumping.
he's also siphoning town water to food. They've built this garden and put, treated wood in the centerpiece up there,
Where is he siphoning water from?
town water, and
No, where is he getting it from?
I'm not sure exactly, somewhere up there, Dave.
Okay, so he may have an illegal connection.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Make a note for Paul Duras to check that out.
Yeah,
Okay.
gotta straighten this thing out.
Is this okay?
Yeah,
I appreciate the board, taking an active role in this because it took a long time to acquire this land.
Yes.
I mean, Joe Lambert and Catherine Webbers and myself, when we first were on back in 2003, 2004, went after it, and then because of the economic term, you were superintendent, Dave, you took the ball and got it brought to town meeting, which I still appreciate.
And the next item is, I'm going to turn over to Mr. Cusick, because I know it's near and dear to his heart.
Yeah, the indirect costs against direct costs.
Yep.
We've discussed some of this, prior to this meeting and other meetings. We've discussed it in past years. We need to do something
Okay.
about these indirect costs versus direct costs. Now, just let me make a point about the indirects and how they're going right now. We have, as you know, through Freedom of Information, I get the town council's bills
Right.
every month. Just so you know, at one time we were charged almost $6,000 a month. Now, in April, the bill was $87. In May, it was $35. Now, I have all the other ones, the total yearly cost doesn't even reach 8,000. So we have them as a direct cost, 10,000. But now it's gone to 23,000. So we need it, we need to rein this in. Now, and I'll finish with this, and then we'll go on the.
Well, I want to go over what I've been working on.
I know, but I want to make a point. So now we have the town administrators charging us $113,000, up from $75,000. I went to every town administrator's report to the selectmen, every meeting, and I read every one of them and copied every one of them. There was no mention of enterprise at all, not, maybe once or twice. This is a full year, so they meet almost every week. You're talking over 50 reports, and there's nothing there. So we need to put a stop to some of this cost that the ratepayers is going on their backs. So go ahead, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, basically, I have been going through, basically working scratch off the table of contents. I did read, I printed and read your comments that you had on the previous 2015 policy. Okay, I've taken it to heart. Basically, I'm looking at, as far as I am concerned, the town administrator and the board of selectmen, your comment there, taking it versus the entire general fund budget.
Correct.
The enterprise, that is absolutely the way it has to go for the president.
It's even in there.
Well, and the but is, as far as I'm concerned, that is, with the advent of the new policy, but in that new policy implementation, as we go into fiscal basically 2024, we require that you provide documentation to support that that is the appropriate percent. He's going to balk at that, but if his board tells him to do it, he doesn't have a choice. And that's right, I know, it's there, okay.
Can I make just one comment?
Well, let me hit the other two that you hit, and then we won't have to discuss those, okay? As far as Labor Council and Town Council go, as far as I'm concerned, bill us as you go directly, okay? Lawyers are always tracking time, usually in tenths of an hour
Right.
for clients.
I have all the bills.
And I don't see any reason not to, okay?
But I have a copy of all the bills.
I know, but I see no reason why it should not be, it's there. If we want to have some threshold budgeted items so that we have it, we can, but the reality is, all we have to do is, have the budgeted number sitting there, we don't have to spend it. But his
That's
time
right.
has to be documented
I
going
understand,
forward.
we'll close the revenue, so
And
yeah.
like I said, with the selectman's office, that should be an issue by percent, but then actual documentation of what time did you actually put in chasing enterprise information. Beyond the contractual stuff, which he only really deals with significantly during the contract negotiation year. The only other thing he has is he is officially our purchasing agent and can make the claims that that's where he's spending his time. But it doesn't take long to sign those, and most of the time, once it is passed, Rod, Tom, and been approved, he's pro forma on the signature. If he sees it from the accountant and the treasurer collector, he's not going to be saying, oh no, we can't do this. At least I don't think so.
No, I totally agree with you, but
Okay.
it's
So let's
already,
back to yours, sir.
it's already broken down by labor and town council.
Yeah.
The bills are already broken down.
Yeah. That's what the
It's
council,
already, yeah,
legal council.
it's all done, all we have to do is ask them.
Right.
I'll give you the copy, and that's what send them the check, it's the same
Sure.
thing.
And when, many of the, employee benefits and services, actually, let's start with the shared facilities, okay? Town hall, we basically do not occupy it in any way, shape, or form. The only allocated costs that should be coming out of there are basically whatever services is provided directly to the Department of Public Works. And that would be basically, now, the only significant one left is IT. Even though we have our own server, they still, at the master center, are handling the flow of information, stuff like that. And that's one of those things I want to approach from my prior life with Com Electric, and prior to that working for Stone and Webster Engineering. We were dealing with mainframe type systems, but we would have the core time of the project would be registered in under the core project name. That was part of your password when you were processing. So we're working off of the Department 13 entries for the copier and everything else. So there's no reason why, whatever we're having
I agree
within
with
the
that.
IT center, it should work out of there, you know?
Yeah. Because it's trackable.
Yeah, it's trackable.
Anything trackable is a direct charge.
Now, the highway garage, the main garage area, which is, the storage area and the locker rooms and that sort of thing, the water department should be carrying a chunk of the cost there. They have it at 25%, and for the non-equipment maintenance space within the new garage, that is appropriate, within limited, the 25%. However, the cost of the equipment maintenance portion of the garage, they got that wrong. I went back through equipment maintenance records, and between equipment, the solid waste and the wastewater, if you looked at the time for equipment maintenance at 35 Parsons Street, you found out that roughly 5% of the time, as compared to the 20% for water, they were doing equipment maintenance for those entities. And so those entities should be picking up a share of that percentage of the building. We go forward paying the debt service.
Yeah, all right, I understand that, yeah.
Yep, okay. Town hall, like I said, to me, I'm thinking equal or less than 1%.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, and actually, they have the employee benefits, the health insurance, Medicare,
Those are all
unemployment.
direct charges.
Those should be all direct charges. The pension and actuarial assessment, looking at that,
That
as
should
you
be
know,
a
I looked at
direct,
that a
yeah.
while, that should be direct. The issue I see is the fact that we used to have segregated amounts in enterprise
Yeah,
funded areas, and now it's all melded to one. So if they're gonna come up with some kind of a percentage, you better be demonstrating to me exactly how many dollars are pigeonholed into each of those areas. The same thing goes for OPEB. Because basically, when I looked at this back when I was superintendent, I had a couple of troubling issues about it. The first was, if you were looking at the funds and how they were behaving, you had an apparent rate of return that was not the same for each and every fund. How does that happen? When you have one place managing
yeah,
all
right,
of the,
right, yeah, Plymouth County, yeah.
Plymouth County managing it all, I never got a straight answer on that.
Well, they make it hard to get,
They have now, they made it
Yeah,
more
they-
difficult.
They do that on purpose.
No kidding. I figured that out too.
Well,
Okay, no, I mean,
audience
okay,
at home.
and most of the shared services, can be broken out more than just by percentage. And like the independent audit, as far as I'm concerned, there should be no cost to the enterprise divisions unless we get an examination of both the indirect costs and the offsets. And since a new policy is going to be coming forward, it would be appropriate for an auditor to be looking at that to make sure the new policy is being followed and that the statistical information supporting where we are is accurate. I'm sure we'll get a collection of somewhat less than credible arguments about why you can't do that. But we got to get there. Accounting, actual costs, IT, as I just said, actual, and the treasurer collector should all be actual. It's not that hard to do as far as I'm concerned. And when I was first approached by this, and they said they wanted to get it in one page, I said, easiest way, everything's an actual cost.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's no real shift between the shared professional services of the DPW administration and the elected officials.
Correct.
And it should stay the way it is. Right now, we provide services, principally water and wastewater and solid waste, to various entities within the town.
Correct.
And to some extent, and we need to examine this, most of labor charge would be embedded in the metered service associated with water and wastewater, if it's a school building, for example, that has sewage.
Yes,
But if it doesn't, then it's just the water, and they have their own septic system operation. But one of the things I wanted to look at is, are there labor charges that we have not submitted that should be submitted on a percent basis for what does it cost us to deliver water to schools compared to our general people? It's essentially, from the well standpoint, it should be a wash. That's, those labor costs should be fully embedded within the water rates. But any service that the distribution portion of water or wastewater
I
provides
for the infrastructure.
provides for infrastructure for the schools, that is not embedded, that's not captured, those lake effects aren't captured directly in the water rates because those are going out to the citizens.
Could you give it, for instance, Dave?
Well, for instance, okay, let's say we have an emergency, loss of power at the Governor Winslow School. It was a failure. The only crews readily available to assist the school department at the time were Water Division employees, and they went in and excavated the electrical trenches after isolation. Our contractor came in, took care of the work, and labor and the material cost and our services were put forth as an indirect charge back against the school department, and they were approved at the time, by the town administrator, John Clifford.
Yeah, so it would be a T&M based on...
Yeah, it would be, basically, it would be specific to, let's say they require us to relocate a water main within a school area,
Yeah.
because something is gonna take care of it. That should be something that is into an offset.
That's
Captured
correct.
and tracked.
Yeah,
Okay, so, that needs kind of a look-see back to say, okay, how many of these did we miss? Now, there is a flip side to, the gain we made on our water department employees following a straight time being paid under snow and ice, okay? The flip side to that is if we take a highway, labor, equipment operator, for example, out with the excavator, and he's digging the trench for water to do something, and it's on straight time, we've taken him away from the general fund work, he should be on the water for that day, because, it's even-handed.
Yeah.
You want to be even-handed, then
Yeah.
no one can criticize you
Yeah,
on that.
yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so those are the things that I'm looking to capture.
Just make it fair.
Yeah.
About that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
So to put everything in a nutshell, this is what I've heard, so what we see the same page, is that the methodologies that we have, we're doing the methodology review.
Yep.
Basically, the number one sticking point is what is the base? And we need to include the schools in the base.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two,
If I could just embellish that point a little bit, as I know John can too as well, and that is that if you look at the guideline from DOR, it says the town general fund. It doesn't make any exception to the school department or anything
Right.
else.
you can't be taking things out.
You can't cherry pick it.
Well, that doubles the percentages.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
The second part is,
It's 50-50.
if it's direct, it's direct.
If it can be done direct, it is direct.
So, not a problem with legal, because legal is doing direct now.
Yeah.
The issue is the selectmen and the town administrator, we need to get some kind of handle on the amount of overcharging. Because there's no rhyme or reason for the, unless they come up with some justification.
Yeah, I mean, now, one of the things I really had in some of this places, like, the points well taken, we may actually find, like, looking at the account or looking at the treasurer collector, that there may be an area there we may find that ticks up. I don't have a problem as long as it's
As long
substantial.
as it's fair.
Yeah, so then everything else is tweaking, plus, including IT.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just, it's the first couple of points I made, that to summarize what you were going through, but basically, the methodology works, except we don't have a good base to start with.
Correct, yeah. And the other thing I was gonna add on, methodology, reading through it, and stuff like that, the red line points that John made were the gaps that had to be closed, because they basically compensated for the background information. But the point what I was gonna say is, my intent here is to have probably a 2 or perhaps 3-page summary of where I wanna go with this for the next meeting, for you guys to peruse, make your comments, and
Yep.
go
Yeah.
forward as we enter the new fiscal year. At the same time, in parallel, I would, just as a courtesy, be sending it to town council and also to Steve Darcy, who I sat with on this stuff.
The methodology works as long as we can, it's better than having just that one-page, percentages, we don't want them to go back.
Well, my thought is that we have the methodologies on, say, 2 to 3 pages, pretty well capturing what we need to capture. And then you asked me, can I give you an example, right? Okay. you use an appendix for those purposes, and you make them in there by reference. That lets you change the appendix over time as you learn things.
Right,
That would be the way I'd approach it.
so you have an executive
That's how I'm
summary
intending to approach it.
with this on a percentage, and
Right.
basically the documentation hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta
Okay.
stay on this though, we gotta, you know.
Well, the thing is, John, we need to stay on this because
I know, right?
it affects us, our annual budget every year.
I think we have three members in this room that are committed to do so. And I know that we'll have the support of staff in doing it. Okay. Let's do our minutes.
No, you're missing.
Number one, or number three.
60/40 net split.
This
I'm sorry,
is-
town wastewater cost, I'm sorry, 60/40 split.
This is, and I'll just make one example. This example is multiplied by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes. 23 Foster Ave.
Yep.
Now, I was the plumber for these people. It was a small cottage, had no inside shower, it had no heat. It was assessed for $240,000. It's sold, it's now a 3-decker, and it's assessed for $550,000 on account of sewage. This is a 33,600 square foot lot. They wouldn't even put a tight tank in this thing. So the sewage, now this is just one example. You could go over and over and over. All these big mansions that are going up in the beach area, there's hundreds and hundreds of them, are impacting the sewer, and we're not being compensated for it. And, you know, we have to, Plymouth Ave, for instance. So, you know, we did ask Libby Bates at one time, and it didn't happen. To do it, it died somehow. We could still ask the Board of Assessors to do a finding of the beach area as to what it's developed into through the sewage, to some degree. Or we could just go down, I could go down the streets myself and I could tell you.
So I'm confused, John.
Go ahead.
Let me kind of rephrase this. If somebody's house was 200,000, now it's 500,000.
Right.
Right, are you looking for them to get a higher sewer bill?
No, I'm looking at the 60-40 split for the town. In other words, right now, the ratepayers for wastewater are paying 100%. We don't get any help from the town. We got a dirt sewer.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, so his point that he was making is you had a small property that became a very large structure. And it became that, and the town gains the tax money from it.
Correct.
Okay, but, you know, there's nothing flowing back to that. And the only reason that happened is because the sewer system permitted the development. It's a point well taken, and I think it is an argument in favor of any project we're doing that is a capital improvement for wastewater. It should be a 60/40 split. The only exception I would take to that is, you know, those items that should be a relatively lower cost maintenance fund.
So-
Let's say we have to replace like a ventilation filter, you know, that has
so
the perfume to knock down the smell type of thing, you know, that sort of thing.
So the-
To me, that should not be a capital equipment item.
No, I'm
But
talking about
upgrade to the
big-
system,
yeah.
upgrade to piping, stuff like that, that should be a 60/40 split, I agree.
Yeah, look, for instance, look at the Ocean Apartments down where the old drive-in is.
Yeah.
No, I get that, but the issue with the 60/40 split is the 60/40 split of 60% of the whole town.
Yeah.
Is going to, actually, the whole town has a benefit in making sure that we have a good sewer system in areas where there's small lots.
There's at least
All
a
right,
40%
because-
benefit to the town.
Because the, as you, John, you said, they benefit from the tax base, but also, it is a shared responsibility as one town that we have this kind of system, because not just the people that live at the beach area go to the beach, or go out fishing or things. There's people in the whole town that deal with that.
Right.
And basically, we need to, it's not fair to have the people just in the sewer district picking up all the infrastructure stuff when the benefit is really across the whole town. Because the rest of the town has septic systems, and that septic system waste goes into the wastewater treatment plant. So it's basically that we would have to go to another town to deal with that. So I am for, of a 60/40 split on major issues.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, not on every single issue that's going out there, but on the major ones, yeah, sewer 2000. If, we should have done it with we were talking about when we did the upgrades at the wastewater treatment plant.
Right.
Now that we're getting into, relining in the sewer system, where it's gonna be very expensive, we should just hammer the people in the beach area, is my point.
Right.
No,
And I don't live in the beach area. I live up in North Marshfield. My parents have a place at the beach area. But I mean, the issue is I look at it as I don't have a problem adding cost to my taxes because it's still one town. That's my position.
I think we're there, that, that was mentioned at the Board of Selectmen's meeting, myself, Tom, and
Yeah,
Ken
I
Ryan were there.
watched it.
So, I mean, it is something to work on, and I think, we can bring it forward, and hopefully we can get the support of the rest of the town when it comes to town meetings. One of the biggest issues we're gonna have is getting it past our buddies at capital budget.
Well, the other issue is like, what do other communities similar to us do?
Good question, I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
I do know, I guess I would say, we behaved one town as, although we explored back in the 2008, 2009 timeframe, the idea of betterments for seawalls.
Nobody had any
Yeah,
experience with that.
yeah, well, actually, yes, the town of Marshfield did back in the 30s, but that's beside the point. The town of Duxbury, for
You can't
example,
double dip on the betterment too.
well, you can when you're rebuilding the entire wall, it's a new
It was
structure.
all frontage, so. It was all
But anyway, the town of Duxbury, basically, when they extended the seawall beyond the Avon Street cutoff into the beach at Green Harbor, that was done by them.
It was not done by the town, it was done by the owners.
It was done, the town charged them betterment for the seawalls they constructed in Duxbury.
So how about Situate? They just did the sewer lines a few years back, and then there's other sections of the town that don't have sewers at all.
I don't know the answer, but
Yeah.
you can ask
Okay.
Tom to reach out and find out from Mr. Good.
I think that we're not alone. I mean, we should, I think sewer 2000, we did the 60/40 split. I think we should do it in the future for major capital costs.
Yeah, we
Not minor, but
We have
major.
to, I mean, 4,000 people cannot support the.
Okay, I think then, that should be on our next agenda, Anne Marie, that basically as an action item that the board is going to prepare a letter for the, Board of Selectmen, Advisory Board and Capital Budget.
Yeah, so we can define exactly what we're talking about.
Right. So that they know what we're gonna look for, and I guess we can put there as an article for the annual town meeting, or the special town meeting, and see if we can get it on the docket for the Board of Selectmen.
Well, I think we should do it on a project-by-project basis.
I think we should just have a general idea, I believe we should basically get a vote at town meeting that a 60/40 split for major capital improvements, and rehabilitation to the wastewater treatment facilities in the town of Marshfield will be done with a 60/40 split, and define that by some dollar value.
Yeah, so we basically, we know that Plymouth Avenue is gonna cost X. We know that there is, the old sewer lines are gonna cost X. We can actually put it, could we name some projects that we think?
Yeah, we know we have costs associated with the outfall that have to be addressed.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have two other ones that.
Yeah, the
Tom mentioned,
I think we hit.
Numbered Road and.
Right, we hit the stuff that's on the docket that's in the 5-year plan, that's over some incremental dollar amount that we want, that we think should be done on a 60/40 split. And another project should be identified as basically that need to be one, and the other project should be identified as, those that are gonna be done under the retained.
yeah, so we define
Right.
the project name, then we get a vote for 60/40, so then we have a roadmap of which way to go.
Yeah, equipment, maintenance, some of it's not 60/40, but the big things.
Okay, now we are into the minutes.
I did read them. I think they're well written.
I am satisfied with them as well.
That's that.
Mr. Sean, so you okay with the minutes?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a motion.
Yep, hang on, I can get there. All right. So I make a motion to accept the open meeting minutes of May 23rd, 2022. Having solicited comments from the board, I will make a motion, and do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I also,
Andrew seconded.
I also make a motion to accept the executive session minutes of May 23, 2022. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Comment on the second?
Yep.
Have we got anything back from town council as far as costs of other communities?
I believe one contract was received, information was received by Ken Ryan, and that's all we received.
That's all. Okay. So do we know where we're going with it? We're going,
But Ken is still working on it, right?
Yeah.
So we're not, I mean, basically, we are proceeding in the direction we chose to do, which is the renewal of the contract.
okay, and we had concurrence with town council based on the discussion.
Yeah, well, I mean, and one of the positions I would take is, how is this different than the approach being taken by the Board of Selectmen with regard to the choice of internal auditor, town council, labor council?
You're correct.
Okay? Now, they are all exempt as well for 30 days. And yet, now, we're getting queried and they're not. Okay? Likewise, Conservation Commission, they have been dealing with Wilderness Trust forever, for holding deed restrictions. Why? Why? We've been told they're cheaper, but we've never seen a solicitation that proves that. Okay, and we did have a cheaper option before town meeting, which town meeting in its wisdom chose not to support, and that's fine, I respect town meeting's opinion.
Okay.
But I do believe that that also should be getting scrutiny, if we're getting scrutiny on solid waste, because we are exempt. And we have a number
Well,
of
we're
reasons-
exempt because of statute.
Huh?
We're exempt because of statute.
Right,
Yeah.
30 days. We're exempt from it, from DEP regulation. Because of that. Okay, the superintendent's report, I'll let you lead, Rod.
Okay, so we got a couple of major projects, the seawall, Granite Rock. The seawall is complete itself, and deck work is proceeding. The back shore restoration is proceeding.
Okay, so this is the private property restorations.
Correct. And so I think they'll make their June 30th deadline, basically, and they've billed us, and we've submitted our request for reimbursement to the state, and so that should be forthcoming, our reimbursement. And I think we're okay with that. We had a few issues with permitting aspect of the decks and whatnot, and we're getting a handle on that, so we'll see. First, seawall goes.
So, Rush,
should
I'm
be
gonna ask you
back
a
on that.
question, just one question. Are they gonna put stairs over the wall in some of the, I'm just curious.
That is up to the selectmen. In fact, I went to a meeting on last Friday where they have what they call a coastal permit, floodplain coastal permit. And I asked them a question, what are you going to require permits for? Because it they weren't listed, and I just wanted to get a feel for what types of items that they would be permitting. They're permitting everything. And I said, even the steps that go over the seawalls, and they said yes.
Yeah, didn't we have a major issue with that a few years back?
We did. We had like a general policy, a draft policy.
Yeah, right.
What we would do, we wanted to be able to see how they would connect.
Right.
But it was up to the selectmen to.
They give the permit, but I think
They have a bylaw that says that they are in charge of, what can go on the seawall, what can't go on the seawall.
yeah, but then we want to make sure that there's no structural interference
Right.
with the new seawall.
Right, so, we constructed the decks away from the seawall, we pulled them back like 3 feet.
didn't I-
And we put all the foundations underneath, so.
I think I drafted something back
It was
then.
a draft, yeah, we have to draft policy.
Yeah,
But I think they're going to require a new permit for that. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what they indicated at the meeting.
well, I think it's a good idea to have a permit so that we know what the diagram and the sketch would be to do the connection.
And if there's a storm coming in and we think they should be removed, we know who to contact.
Absolutely. So basically, it's just because you live on a seawall doesn't mean you have the right to do what you want.
There is no by right access.
Absolutely.
So that was something that came up.
I think that was even on I think it was on Channel 4. It was made, it was Boston News back then.
Okay.
So that's the seawall.
Yep.
And the Plymouth Ave pump station is coming along. They put the temporary bypass in, it's been operational. This weekend we started the bypass excavation. We removed the pipe going into the station, and we found that we had some deterioration. There's a big chunk of concrete. They've poured concrete around the fitting. And we directed them to take that concrete out. It wasn't on the plan or anything. They must have covered. And we found that the pipe was deteriorated. The bolts had gone from maybe a 3/4 inch diameter down to a 1/4 inch. So they were rotting. We definitely wanted to replace that pipe that went into the
Entering the pump up.
into the pump room, pumping room. And so that's been replaced. They are in the process of, they fused the high-density polyethylene pipe outside. They'll be connecting that to the valve and testing that connection to the valve tomorrow before we backfill. And then they'll proceed to, probably by Wednesday, they'll have most of the bypass configuration that's going to remain at the station. So in the future, we'll be able to bypass using the force main, bypass the station. So that should be configured probably by Wednesday, I would say, at best. And then after that, then they'll start the lining process. They cleaned the wet well today. They did a pretty good job. Ken went and looked into it, didn't enter the wet well. Tomorrow morning, the inspectors will go and enter the wet well. It looked like we did have some deterioration, and we're in the areas where the level, liquid
Rises
level,
and falls, yeah.
liquid level. So we had a lot of concrete deterioration, but it didn't look like there was rebar exposed, which is a good thing.
That's good.
So we'll see. They're gonna take their hammer in there and they're gonna be whacking that. But I think it was a good move. It cost, this is above and beyond. We didn't anticipate replacing the pipe. In fact, what they had done at the wall, there was a fitting that was cast right into the 2-foot thick wall, and that had to be removed. So we were jackhammering that out, and they spent all day. These guys worked on a time and material basis. We told them to get to do that, and they were working hard. They finished. I think it was 8 o'clock on Friday night, and they were working Saturday. We had some flooding on Saturday, which we believe should be on their dime. It was actually the groundwater in the trench that we dug, pumps that are being used to keep the groundwater low in the excavation generator failed, and so the pump, the guy checking the wastewater noticed that the generator had failed, and they called the guys in to pump that out, whatever. So we had water in the station, groundwater had gone in through the hole, and so they had to come in and clean that out. So
That should all be on the contract. I know I asked that when we confirm the contract and the obligation.
this is going to be a big item. The fact that we had to take that piece out, but it was a necessary. I mean, because when they pour concrete around a connection, and then you drive the sheet piles around it to try to, to do your excavation and to piece in your new piping, you don't know what's gonna happen with that concrete. That whole chunk could weigh in on top of the pipe and snap it, or you just don't know.
It's gonna be gone. It's a hazard otherwise.
And so that had to be replaced, and we'll be looking at a change order sizable, but it was unnecessary, we had to, you can't just go and replace half a pipe and then not, the last piece,
It basically was not known and knowable because it was not reflected on the as-built conditions.
Plus, but when we looked at the condition of the pipe 15 feet away, it was good. We had ultrasonic results, and it was there was no metal loss. But then we go closer to the pump station, and we had a significant deterioration. I got some photographs. But
Because of hydrogen sulfide?
either hydrogen sulfide or maybe electrolysis or something. I don't know if they grounded the pipe to that. Maybe something like that. We're gonna look to see where the grounds are. But it seemed like there was
Well,
excessive.
do we have sacrificial,
Those things or anything?
nothing?
No, I don't believe so.
Is that normal? Do we have anodes on stuff like that?
The issue you get is what are you generating for circulating current? For that type of pipe, I would say, no, you probably would not normally expect it. It's usually, when you know you're gonna have that, the seawater area, I think the presumption in that area was the groundwater is not that high saline content,
Yeah,
which is not necessarily the right conclusion. I don't know whether they sampled, for salinity at the times they were doing all of that work back when or not.
The soil was corrosive.
The soil is corrosive.
Corrosive in that area. And I heard that 2 years after they built the pump station, that they had some bolts deteriorated. Now, I don't know what the fix
So
was.
why is it
I don't know if
deteriorated?
they
Because
went
it's
in and
marsh?
just poured the concrete around it.
Yeah, they may have just, the classic old Navy fix for a salt water connection in the ship if you have to do it. Now,
My question is, why is this corrosive? Because it's a marsh area?
and it's also coated pipe, right?
Slightly corroded.
So you have basically a coating on it, so if you get any defect in the coating,
Right, it's not
electrolysis
cracked,
the electrolysis
It's going
gonna
underneath the
right
coating,
there.
I get
But
it.
I mean, that type of situation, I don't believe you could use sacrificial inlet. I think you'd have to actually have an active cathodic protection system to do it, which is kind of press current.
So the point why I brought that up is, moving forward,
We have high-density polyethylene pipe. And so
Okay.
there's a piece of ductile that comes out. We're wrapping that, recoating it, and wrapping it with the plastic.
so we don't need to do any
We got a
kind
brand new pipe
of
in there, and.
sacrificial metal detection, we don't need any of that.
The absence, when the piping ultimately fails, the polyethylene pipe is supposed to still be completely serviceable, much like the cured-in-place polyester we were using in the gravity days.
But this piece is connected to, by mechanical connection. So the ductile going through the building will, is the pipe. We're not going in through with the HDPE.
Yeah.
Because of the sealing issues.
That ductile, what's about 20 feet of pipe?
Yeah, it's been in there for 70 years, right?
Huh?
Whatever. Been in there for a long time.
No, but I mean, but the length of that pipe is about 20 odd feet, right, from the section coming out to where the poly starts? Or is it longer?
It's gonna be less than that, because they cut it.
Okay, because I mean, the bottom line is that we need an press current system in that situation for sacrificial inlet. That's doable, and that actually is running through the soil that was built up for the building of the pump house. So that should be less subject to the groundwater, I would
I
think.
suppose you could put an anide right inside the building.
You'd want to put, basically, you want to put the active cathodic protection system right on the piping itself, so that the anodes that are associated with the active system are taking, the straight current as opposed to, because the anodes, sacrificial anodes themselves, eventually they deplete and go. I mean, ask anybody that's had a propeller failure, because the anodes didn't work.
Yeah.
The zincs didn't work.
So my point is, it's like, if we can figure out what happened, can we do something as preventive measure now that we're doing the reconstruction, so we don't have a future?
New soil in there, but that doesn't mean it'll
The
get,
groundwater.
the groundwater will just recontaminate
But
it.
I think one of the things to look at is, we might be able to put, basically, what I'm also put galvanometer system into the pipe, onto the pipe itself to see what we're seeing for basically stray currents. Yeah, and if that becomes the case, you know, you can drive you can drive the compressed current anodes down adjacent to the pipeline. Yeah, you just want to make sure we as-build it nicely so we're not pounding them into the pipe.
Murphy's Law, right?
But they do that on ships, right? They have sacrificials off,
Well, the typical vessel has sacrificial anodes like in the condensed, you know, the condenser and the other saltwater systems. But in a lot of cases, like the live power plants, they were compressed current systems. So you actually have the compressed current that is basically taking care of the
neutralize it.
straight. Well, it's taking care of the straight currents. It's pulling it.
Yeah.
You know, it's basically becoming the the positive anode as opposed to
I know enough to get myself in trouble, but I don't know enough about the design of it.
But at the powerhouse, they were a royal pain in the backside most of the time. Anything else, Rod?
Okay, so those are the two projects basically that we need to be reporting on.
Okay,
I did get a preliminary report from Tech, who is a company that we had hired to do some traffic studies at Clay Pit Road and Stony Brook and Grove Street. There was a petition that was filed. They want to put a four-way stop there. And before we do that, we needed to get some professional traffic study done, recommendation. Basically, they recommend that I'll make copies of this and get it to the board so they can discuss it. And Tom hasn't had a chance to even look at it, but they're recommending that we could put a forced stop without too much.
Forced stop where?
At Grove, Stony Brook. Right now, you stop at Clay Pit Road.
You're talking about four-way stops at the
Four-way
intersection.
stop right at Grove. So basically, Grove you'd have to stop at Grove at that intersection of Stony Brook and Clay Pit.
So my pet peeve is Pine and Forest. Is that there was a fatal accident there a few years back.
It's only the Forest Street stop has a stop sign.
Yeah, it's a three-way stop and one doesn't because there's a side of the line. But we were going to put some kind of electronic
Stop ahead, whatever.
substance up there. We never did.
Yeah, they didn't, yeah, it was discussed, but we never got the clearance to proceed from the police department, to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah. They do have it. I mean, that's a major cut to it.
Yeah.
I mean, can we look into that again?
We can, what was it,
Pine and
Forest
Forest.
Street.
There was someone blew through it and they get hammered.
Actually, I actually had one of the gentlemen I skated with wanted to see permission to bring heavy trucks back over Pine Street because they had been eliminated because of the accident potential at that intersection in particular.
Yeah,
Because
that's
that
a-
didn't involve a heavy truck that time when it happened. When I gave him that answer, he just immediately got put off.
Yeah, so I mean, we were looking at electronic, with the solar powered
Yeah,
flashing. They have them over in Prospect Street over in Norwell.
Yeah.
Similar situation. I mean, you're coming down a road you don't even expect it, and all of a sudden you got to stop. It's like, oh my God, people just fly through them.
We got a blind hill there too.
It's a blind hill, yeah. That's why it's only a three-way
Stop
stop.
ahead, that type of thing, flashing, stop ahead.
Yeah.
I might point out the fact that a former board member of this board told me that actually it was a form of entertainment when he was a high schooler and was licensed to see if you could actually vault past the Forest Street intersection by coming over the hill fast. I won't say who he was. It wasn't Bob.
No.
Okay, anything else, Rod?
No, that's it.
So I think high school in Marshfield, so it wouldn't have been me.
I have a couple of items that Rich and I was going to.
Sure.
One is the Condaball Crest. Before I get there, I talked to Jim Jackson, and basically just as a point of information, at Acorn Street, they're doing the crosswalk by the golf course there, that crossing. And then Tuesday night, assuming everything goes, they can get a detail. The intent is to do the crosswalk paintings at Webster and Ocean Street by CVS.
Well, that'd be good.
Yeah. And then this next item, which basically is we received a letter from a gentleman up in the Pudding Hill area, and then we had an additional inquiry from somebody on the Maples, as I recall. And everybody's looking for permission to come into the transfer station, get rid of the bulk items and the like. And this is just the kinds of things that should be captured. I'm going to leave it to staff to do the write-up on it. But, there is language within the planning board condominium permits that basically stipulates this sort of thing. We ran into this with a memo for Chet Deloach, where he didn't realize that it was one of the things required was built in. And those things are not necessarily being placed into the individual deeds of people when those properties exchange over time, which is something that's I think is an oversight on the permitting process. It should be stated in the registry of deeds and should be informed just like any easement you have across your property from the utility or whatever. Then, all of these people have their associations and their condo managers and stuff like that, and there's no reason they can't negotiate a contract that says, hey, it's there. And then the last item was to, compile a list of junk removal and bulk item, local residences they would like that, do that business. And provide it to people with no recommendation, just that, hey, here's 20 people you can talk to about getting it taken care of if you want to seek your own. As it happens, Diane Salve, the four-person at the solid waste transfer, had 3 people give her cards, and right now they are available through Donna Loomis if somebody comes in for that type of interest to say, you can't from us, but there's somebody you can reach out to and say, some of the stuff, they're asking for the permit, I don't think they realize that what they're bringing in would have to be a weight and pay as well, which is a minimum of $75. So I think, this is things I think should be incorporated into the policy. Huh?
35.
Is it, yeah, I'm sorry, it's a half, I just gave the ton per.
So, Dave, did I ever feel? Because I just have one issue I want, because the summer season's here. And this concern, we had issues with, in the beach area, the crosswalks and people going too fast on Ocean Street. And I think in the past, we put those things that we anchored into the
Like
concrete.
Plaza here.
Yeah, with the sign.
Yeah.
Are we intending to do that in the beach area again this year?
There's a lot of them up.
There are a lot of.
And Jim said, the first concentration, I think is just about all done. They've been paving down the beach area for all.
Oh, good,
the
okay.
stuff, so.
I just thought I'd bring it up because
Yep.
I know it's been an issue with the board in the past.
And what hasn't been completed for the beach areas will be completed prior to the 4th of July. He said by July 1, he hopes to have them all done. Of course, that is also tied to weather. If suddenly we decide we're going to get 3 weeks of rain, that can.
So John, since you've been down in the beach area, all along Ocean Street that has?
Yeah, there's quite a few all over the beach area,
Yeah, because I know when I was, the last election, a lot of people were saying, how come you're not painting every intersection with a crosswalk? It's like, well, you can't do every intersection, but you can do major. But I do like the signs. They do slow, they dampen the speed down.
On the bulk item, one thing I wanted to point out is, that they're actually under the town code of 652-2, which is under the Board of Health. There was a bylaw revision back a number of years ago now that actually requires the trash providers for the condos and other, that they must offer recycling service. So there is no reason why, these people that want to get something done can't look for a bylaw change that says, the condo management association or the ownership, the citizens group that is running it, also has to have their trash recycler offer the option of bulk pickup and disposal. I mean, it's not, there are paths that these people have not sought to go down that are available to them.
I'm going to preach to the choir here because I agree with you.
Yeah.
But the issue is to say we're paying for recycling to get rid of it. So why should we be paying for condos where they have the direct responsibility and that's how they were built to begin?
And basically, there was one error on my memo here with, right up to basically, it's 3 or more is the actual criteria under the Board of Health. You know, basically 3 apartments or more, 3 structures, you know, or 3
They have to have
residences
their
or more,
own.
and they have to provide their own trash service.
I agree.
So, anyway, that's there, and I think we can put this forward. You know, Tom has reviewed this, I emailed it to him,
Okay,
and he is okay with it in general.
I'm okay with it.
Very good. Now, this was not, you know, for
Actually,
action,
I
this was
wanna
not
thank
for
you.
action, just for consensus, so to speak. And that, I think, wraps it up. I don't have anything more under the superintendent's report, so the one thing I would say is our next meeting is scheduled to be on the 27th of June, 2022. I just want to confirm that that is not the date at which the planning board will have their hearing.
It is.
It is. Okay, in that case, I would like to have us reschedule that.
Can we do it to the Tuesday after?
I don't see any reason we can't do it on the 28th. Okay, so let us
All right.
post a meeting for the 28th of June instead of the 27th, and that way we can actually be there and have our 5 cents done at the planning.
Yeah, because they're meeting at 7 o'clock on the 27th.
And I think, you know, I have every intention of being there.
Yeah,
And by
me
then, we'll have had the memo to Mr. Greg Diamond, such that he will know that you were pleased.
Good, thank you.
Okay, make a motion.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good evening.